Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Video Games. We are back with another really cool arcade game. This one's from 1994. If you can't tell by the cabinet, this is Atari's famous Primal Rage in the cool original dedicated cabinet with all the artwork on it. We had this traded in a few days ago on some stuff, and it had some monitor issues and things going on. We were able to get it going, and here it is. So we thought we would film a video because it's such a cool game. This game has been named one of the best arcade fighting games, and it's been named one of the worst arcade fighting games. So you're either one way or the other, it seems like, on this one. I think it's cool, but just a little thing about me, I think about everything's cool, so I'm probably not the best one to judge, but it's a really fun game. Basically, the storyline of it is that, and one thing you need to know is in '94, Atari was hurting, you know. Atari was kind of on their last legs. So they were kind of desperate for a hit. You know, soon after this, they released the Atari Jaguar, or maybe it was even before this, I don't know. And this was one of the games that they released on the Jaguar. They were also trying to, I think Time Warner had bought them by this time, and so they were trying to make games licensed for other systems too, like the 3DO and stuff like that. But this was something that they spent a lot of money and a lot of time on. So the storyline is there's a meteor, hits Earth, kills everybody or almost everybody, and then afterwards it everything gets you know, caveman days again, and so these huge monsters crawl out of the earth, and there's 7 of them. There's 4 good ones and 3 bad ones, and they start fighting. And so you've got all of these all the people that are left are worshiping the certain ones as gods. So you got all these little people running around on the ground while you're fighting and everything. If you've probably heard of this game before, but if you haven't, it's pretty cool. This is the version 2.3, like it just said, which was an update that they released for the arcade version that kind of made some of the special moves easier to do and added some stuff. You can see the little worshippers in the background there. This game had a lot of really violent, bloody stuff in it, so a lot of people were really up in arms whenever this came out because of all of the bloody finishing moves and gross moves and things like that. So, but a lot of kids really liked it. This cabinet's really cool. Where you hit the buttons, it's kind of got this smashed look, like a, you know, like a dinosaur, or, you know, banged on it. I thought that was pretty neat. And then the side art's missing a lot. On this one, some punk kid has peeled off part of it, but most of it's still there. Primal Rage. It's actually in remarkably good shape too. Usually they're really faded. This one's a little faded, but not too bad. This art too, if you look at it, there's a problem with a lot of artwork that came out on the games, particularly in the 90s, which is strange, but where they were printed a certain way where if you spray any kind of cleaner on them, it'll just eat the art right off of it, as you can see has happened right there. Somebody has tried to clean it and it just made the art disappear. It'll just wipe right off. So you really got to be careful when you clean these. It's the same with some of the Konami stuff like X-Men and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and The Simpsons. The artwork's real fragile on it. So that side's a little rough. This side over here is better. It's all there at least. And it's not really faded very much. It's a cool little cabinet that they designed for it. And like I said, Atari was kind of trying to make some stuff happen. And so they spent a lot of money on this. They released it on tons of different systems. There's probably 8 or 9 different versions of this on home systems that you could buy. Even on handheld systems. I don't think there were any that were ever quite as good as the arcade version, but most of the time they just didn't look quite as good. They filmed it with little models that they built, and they then did kind of stop animation. Filming them. Whenever we got this in, the monitor wasn't working right. This is a Neotech 2515. They have really good pictures, nice and bright and vivid. This game looks a little, it looks a little washed out. That's actually not the monitor, it's just Primal Rage is kind of designed that way. They didn't make it with really bright primary colors, so it kind of looks a little weird, but it's a very nice monitor. Neotech did a really good job on a lot of their stuff in the 90s. So there you go. The game, you know, it's a typical fighting game. It's got a lot of finishing moves, and on the dedicated cabinet it kind of had a list here where it would show you some of them, and at the bottom of each it says and more and more and more. When the game first came out, it kind of had a strange, you know, they were kind of trying to reinvent the wheel. So the way you do certain moves, like for instance Chaos, whoop, if we can find him, here he is, there's Chaos. See how it says grab and throw? So if you'll notice, it says hold these two buttons, so hold the two right buttons. Oop. My viewfinder's to the side, so it's kind of hard to do that. Hold the two buttons and then press toward and away. So it's backwards than a lot of fighting games. Instead of doing a move and then hitting buttons, you hit buttons and then do the move, which really confused a lot of people in the arcade, you know, and you walk up, you put a quarter in, and then you can't figure out what to do. So they released an update, which is that version 2.3 that it said, that made it where you could do it the old way, but they also made it where on some of the moves, if you did it the more traditional way, made the move first and then hit the buttons, that it would still work. So it's kind of cool. This had a gore setting that you could turn off that in the menu that changes everything. As you can see, there's a ton of blood going on, and you can eat the little worshippers walking around underneath you. There's just a lot of the they're not fatalities, but the finishing moves are just vicious. So, but really cool game. I always like getting in these ones that I remember whenever I was younger, and I also like getting the ones that are in the dedicated cabinets like this, where it's always been a Primal Rage. They never tried to turn it into something else. A good example of that, you know, this is Primal Rage. Still got the art. Right here in our showroom, we have a Golden Tee. This Golden Tee was a Mortal Kombat. If you know anything about the Mortal Kombat cabinet, that's a straight up Mortal Kombat that someone has turned into a Golden Tee. So they took they covered up the side art with red Formica, you know, put Formica on the control panel and drilled a big hole in the middle to put the trackball in. Now I like Golden Tee, but Mortal Kombat is a much better game, you know. But you know, the operators at the time, they just, you know, whatever was newer made more money, so it was actually financially made sense for them to do that. No one ever did that to this game. It's still in its original cabinet. Even still has the side art, which is kind of hard to find on Primal Rage. That's even the original T-molding, I believe. We were going to replace it, but we don't have that exact color red, and let's see if I can let the light hit it. It's kind of got that, that's how the stuff used to look. The newer stuff's kind of like a matte finish. So I think that's the original T-molding. I looked on the flyer and it looked different, but then I saw a whole bunch of them that had that on it. So, but there you go, Atari's Primal Rage. Really cool game. I will set up the tripod and we'll play it through a little bit. I'll see if I can do a really disgusting finishing move for you. The future. Civilization died in the cataclysms. The Draconians were born from the death of old Earth. Who will rule the new Earth? By the way, no animals were harmed in any way during the making of Primal Rage. Alright, I'm going to play it a little bit. Standard disclaimer, I'm not all that great, but we'll try it out. So these are the good guys. But what fun is that? You want to be the bad guys, right? So I'll be Chaos, everybody's favorite. Yes, he just did that. Oh man, he cheated. That's one. Uh-oh. 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 Oh no, he got me. Yes, folks, that's the first person. You can tell the actors and actresses that they got to play the worshipers or whatever really got into it. Oh man. AI too strong. AI too strong. What? It was almost total domination. Whoa, man, that punch is awesome. I need to figure out how to do that. I didn't know you could do that. He really gets going after a while, man. He was easier before. I think they learn if you try to do the same move over and over again. I think they learn what you're going to do, and it doesn't work like that. I'll try to do his famous. I'll try to do his famous finishing move. That Right, let's see if I can do it. And folks, that is why people wanted the game banned. So there you go. Primal Rage, really cool game, Atari 1994. This is just one of, you know, dozens of games we got in. By the time you see this video, this game may already be sold. We don't get Primal Rage too often, but maybe we'll have something else that you're interested in, or if you just want to check out the videos, subscribe to us here on YouTube. You can see all of our arcade games that we do have for sale at lionsarcade.com, or stop by our shop and you can see them in person. We're in downtown Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is about 15 minutes south of Charlotte, North Carolina. And we've got a building here just full of games. We get them in like this that are broke and fix them up, and we're always getting something new in. So stop by and see us, check out the website, or subscribe to us here on YouTube. We'll see you next video.